At my father's retirement celebration, I asked him, "Do you enjoy the home I purchased for you?" He paused and questioned back, "Which home?" My sibling stiffened. I rose, faced my brother, and demanded, "Produce the title document immediately." "And my name is Evan. I'm 32, the firstborn, the one who always recovers quickly. I'm an actor, ads, minor roles in online series, a few independent movies that compensated me with snacks and visibility. I know my best angle, how to tear up on command, and how to grin at casting agents who claim, 'You're talented, but we're choosing differently.' At home, my part is straightforward, problem-solving son. I reserve tickets. I decipher hospital invoices. I arrive with delivery food when funds run short. Dad calls me buddy, even past 30. Mom says I behave like a hero and chuckles at her quip. My younger brother, Liam, manages specifics. He's the ledger expert, the one who adores folders and name tags. He labels himself a property specialist, which is kind for someone who has never finalized a transaction without my funds involved. The evening it exploded was Dad's retirement gathering. Hanging lights, instant cameras, a sign over the Veterans Hall platform, "Gratitude, Frank." Dad embraced everyone until their sides ached. I brought a mounted picture of him at 20, beaming in a safety helmet, and I couldn't quit grinning. During his talk, I lifted my hand like I was 12. "Do you enjoy the home I purchased for you?" I asked. He paused. "Which home?" The space faltered, talks halted. The music host acted busy with his equipment. I faced Liam. He stiffened. His mouth tightened slightly. Mom stared at the dessert like it could respond for her. "Which home?" Dad echoed, gentler now, as if the phrase might harm. I rose, my seat scraping the ground. "Produce the title," I told Liam. Immediately, he attempted humor. "Evan, not now." Now I insisted, because this is where Dad stands. Because this is where honesty should reside. Aunt Noreen inhaled sharply. Uncle Joe grumbled, "Lord." The music host silenced the tunes completely. Even the cubes in the beverage seemed noisy. Liam's expression shifted in a way I'd noticed in tryouts. A spark, a change, a decision. He grinned. "Take a seat, buddy. You're causing a disturbance." I glanced at Dad. His fingers trembled, but his gaze was steady. "Son." And that was the spark. One word that seemed like a mechanism, unlocking a barrier I'd overlooked. The gathering didn't count. The sign didn't count. The instant cameras didn't count. I needed the title. I needed the honesty that ought to accompany it. It didn't begin at the Veterans Hall. It began with minor issues. It always does. When Mom's internal organ acted up, I scheduled the specialist visit and covered the initial fee. When the vehicle failed, I transferred funds just to tide you over until salary. When Dad fell on slick ground, I paused a filming and rested in a rigid seat at the medical center for 2 evenings while Liam messaged, "Update me from a couple of towns away." "Evan's skilled at this," Mom would remark. "He examines the details." Over time, examines the details began to imply covers whatever is listed there. When my performing finally earned beyond housing and noodles, 2 channel ads consecutively plus a repeating nurse on a drama, I phoned Dad and declared, "I want to achieve something major. For you." He chuckled. "You already have, buddy. You matured." "No," I replied. "A residence." Quiet. Then a damp breath. "Evan." I possessed the funds for an initial payment. I had borrowing power. I had the sort of hope that prompts reckless, generous acts. Liam said, "Allow me to manage the documents. I know the local official. Fewer complications." He emailed a list with 30 tasks. He was composed. He was effective. He was my sibling. We viewed compact spots near their area, a single level with a slope, 2 rooms so my sister's children, when they come, wouldn't rest on the ground. Dad moved through each like a traveler. No steps, he'd note like a wish. Mom slid her hand over surfaces and murmured, "Picture holiday meals." We selected a beige single-story with a fruit tree out back. The vendor was relocating south and desired a swift finish. I transferred the initial amount. I covered the evaluation. I requested a sofa that didn't dip in the center like a weary figure. Liam joined me at a cafe with file envelopes and a writing tool he favored excessively. "We're progressing quickly," he noted. "Vendor wants to complete by Friday." He pushed documents over the surface. "Sign here, and mark initials there." I marked. He snapped a picture of me grasping the opener for our family message thread. Mom sent love symbols. Dad typed, "Hard to accept." "Then you certain we can manage this?" I replied, "Yes, I've handled it." Relocation day seemed like a film sequence. Pals, pizzas. A local who demanded we accept a carton of odd cups. I positioned Dad's lounger by the glass, where the glow landed gently. I placed a mounted image of my parents on their marriage day in the corridor and cracked a silly remark about the decade. Mom dismissed it and wept into a cloth. 2 weeks later, the utility firm mailed an invoice addressed to renter. Mom giggled and said, "Odd." It continued, "Renter, resident, present occupant." I questioned Liam about it. He replied, "It's typical until the title registers. Administration is delayed." He said it like calming a child. The loan automatic withdrawal exited an account I'd created with him. He was joint overseer because that appeared simpler than responding to messages during tryouts. He forwarded monthly overviews with upbeat titles. Everything fine. I glanced. I relied. I returned to filming and rehearsed stating, "We've got a 10 to 54 on third," without robotic tone. Then small oddities accumulated. A note from a lender I didn't know with Dad's name and a million-plus approval figure. Mom noted a guy had visited asking if the proprietor was present, and when she said it was her residence, he smiled courteously and said, "I mean the proprietor." I questioned Liam again. Title should have appeared by now. Officials delayed, he noted. Change coming soon. I searched digitally. I discovered nothing under Dad's name. I discovered a lot number linked to a company I didn't recognize. Marnell Lane Holdings. I questioned Liam. He replied, "That's merely a temporary entity. Common practice. Protection from lawsuits. You want Dad sued if the delivery person slips." Julia, my partner then, my spouse now, gazed at the display and said, "Why does the contact address for that company go to a postal shop with box 214? Question Liam, I noted. She did. He answered, "It's okay." I desired it to be okay. I desired my sibling to be the person I gave documents to in cafes. He'd always been the child who arranged his markers. He was the one who understood opening savings plans and why we required advance directives. I portrayed expiring fighters. He dealt with active paperwork. We complemented. 3 months later, Dad's aged vehicle required fixes. I noted, "Use the backup fund on the residence account." Liam replied, "We can't. Liquidity." I paused. "I've been supplying it, just scheduling," he noted. "A transfer is postponed." My gut chilled. Julia noted, "Contact the local office. Inquire title status." I did. The lady on the line was pleasant. "What's your name?" "Evan." "What's the property location?" I provided it. "I'm not finding a title recorded to a person," she noted. "It's owned by a company." She recited the name. It aligned with the postal box. "Who's the approved signer?" I inquired. She recited a name. "It wasn't Dad's. It wasn't mine." "Liam Porter," she noted. I ended the call and sat on the floor of my unit, the inexpensive mat imprinting patterns into my hands. I phoned Liam. "Why is the title in your firm's name?" He chuckled. "Oh wow, relax, it's for tax benefits. We'll transfer it to Dad. There's a process." When? I inquired. "After the redo," he noted. "We secure a lower rate that way. You want to reduce costs, right?" Redo. The term rang. "You redid the loan on the residence I acquired." "Without my approval." "It's my approval," he noted, abruptly firm. "I'm the overseer. This is how transactions operate." "You're not a transaction," I noted. "You're my sibling." He eased immediately, like activating a control I was unaware of. "Ev, I'm improving. You're occupied. Let me manage this. Dad will never stress." And I desired to trust him so intensely it hurt. I noted, "Okay, but I want the title in Dad's name by summer's close." "Agreed," he noted. Summer concluded. The title didn't shift. The postal box did. The overview ceased. The residence received another proprietor query note. I marked the date on my wall planner. Dad's retirement gathering was in 2 weeks. I informed Julia, "I'll inquire then. If the title is in his name, we'll rejoice. If it isn't, she noted, "you'll cease allowing a falsehood to preside." Back to the Veterans Hall bright lamps, the sign. The quiet that trailed, "Which home?" "Produce the title," I told Liam. He did the smile. "Bro, remove your device," I noted. "Activate the recorder. Explain it to me." Dad noted boys, not boys. I noted eyes on Liam. 2 adults. 1 title. Mom's fingers lingered over the dessert blade like she could divide our issue into portions. "Evan, you're humiliating your father." "My father," I echoed. "Precisely." Liam exhaled dramatically and withdrew his device. "All right, here's the access," he pressed. The small spinning icon turned. "Nothing," he smirked. "Poor connection." I extended my palm. "Provide the access info." "No way," he noted. "Customer info." "Dad's the customer," I noted. "I'm the supporter." Uncle Joe cleared his throat. "Perhaps go outside." "No," Dad noted, tone firm. He indicated Liam's device. "Access." Now, something altered. Honor, authority. The man we were honoring had directed beams and teams for 30 years. He could still direct iron with his tone. Liam entered. He rotated the display toward me and moved quickly. Like velocity could remove truths. I glimpsed sufficient. The company's name. Alone. Shifts labeled owner withdrawal. Dates that aligned with his liquidity problems. Figures that dried my mouth. "How much?" I inquired. He shrugged. "Figures fluctuate. You wouldn't comprehend." "Attempt me," I noted. "How much did you withdraw against Dad's residence?" He rolled his eyes. "Our residence." "Dad's residence," I noted. "Respond," Mom murmured Liam, like she knew the response and despised us all for arriving there. He burst. "Fine, 200, approximately." The space emitted a noise. Not a inhale, a moan, like something aged yielding. 200,000, I noted. "For opportunities," he noted rapidly. "Brief term, strong return. We're ahead, in fact." Julia approached. "Then repay it, transfer the title, and express regret." He sneered. "Who are you exactly?" "The one who will assist Evan pursue this legally," she noted. Mom gripped the blade. "Don't involve strangers in kin matters." I glanced at Dad. Did you mark anything? He shook his head. Your sibling said it was intricate. He said he managed it. You granted him authority of attorney, Mom noted, a minor admission, just short-term. For ease, my throat warmed. You granted him authority without informing me. You were occupied, she noted. You're always occupied. Dad placed both palms level on the surface. His joints were marked, as usual. Liam, he noted, correct this. I am correcting it, Liam retorted, but I can't if he, thumb toward me, creates a fit amid my schedule. I withdrew a small pile of sheets from my coat. Display captures printed, lender transfers, messages, the lot page with the postal address. I placed them near the dessert, like an additional treat. No more schedules, I noted. Title, now. Or I contact the lender and the local office and anyone else who answers when I mention the term scam. He chuckled, a brief, harsh noise. You won't. I removed my device and called on speaker. The lender's scam line rang. A lady responded. How may I assist? Liam grabbed for the device. Evan, I retreated. Hello, I noted. I'm reporting possible misuse of authority of attorney and potential scam on a loan linked to a company owning my parents' home. The space inhaled deeply. The lady requested specifics. I provided them. Liam cursed softly. Mom began weeping. Dad sat heavily, like a man releasing a burden. When I ended, I glanced at my sibling. This is the gentle version, I noted. The one where we correct it before restraints. He gazed at me like a stranger. You destroy me, he murmured. You accomplished that, I noted. I'm simply illuminating. The music host, good on him, softly began a gentle tune like a cloth over shattered crystal. People feigned dancing. Aunt Noreen embraced Mom. Uncle Joe guided Dad to a seat. I placed my palm on Dad's arm. I'll correct it, I noted, and for once it didn't seem like a snare. It seemed like a task with stages and a finish. Liam exited. He didn't glance back. The gathering stumbled forward. We vocalized anyway. Dad sliced the dessert with steady hands. When he offered Mom a piece, she grinned through moisture. Happy retirement, I murmured in his ear. Happy honesty, he murmured back. Monday, 9 a.m., I was at an attorney's office that smelled like documents and bold brew. Julia sat nearby, notebook prepared. The lawyer heard, didn't flinch, and noted, we begin with 3 actions. Cancel the authority, halt the loan, file a claim of stake to prevent title tricks. He noted, title tricks like a doctor noting growth. We went directly to the certifier. Dad marked the cancellation with a mouth like a fixed bolt. Mom marked 2, face splotchy. The lender placed a stop on the line after 10 minutes of me, and the lawyer alternating on the call. The local official marked our claim with a smack that still resonates in my mind when I attempt rest. Liam phoned 13 times that day. I ignored them. He messaged, you're exaggerating. Then you're ending a solid opportunity. Then you're gone to me. I informed the lawyer. He noted, preserve all. A money tracker, another term I acquired that week, traced the funds like a hunter. The opportunities were digital currency risks, a risky eatery, and a guidance scheme that vowed effortless earnings for those who enjoy saying outlook a lot. Strong return, he'd noted. Strong imagination. We submitted a private suit, violation of trust duty, taking, scam. I marked my name on sheets that felt weighty. Mom inquired if we could manage it discreetly. The lawyer noted, we are. Kin views arrive like unwanted ads. Aunt Noreen, relations are relations. Uncle Joe, force him to correct it. A relative I hardly know. Bro, that's harsh. My sister messaged, you always sought attention. Well done, Dad said little. He accompanied me to sessions. He sat upright in seats too narrow for him. He examined the record like a chart he couldn't interpret. After we exited the tracker's office, he noted, I taught you to divide. I didn't teach you to be foolish. Then he placed his palm on my neck like when I was 10 and dropped a ball. You're not foolish, he added fast, you're kind. Mom rotated through phases like images. Rejection, it's a mix-up. Negotiating, can't we simply restore it? Fury, how dare you pursue your sibling? And then a hush that worried me. She touched the fruit tree in the yard and noted, I wanted us all to rest beneath it. I noted, we still can. She noted, perhaps not all. Meanwhile, lease and existence didn't halt for conflict. I still tried out. I still waited under bright bulbs, while a group of unknowns observed me consume imitation grains, and same in 4 varied feelings. I secured a visitor role as absent-minded server. I memorized the script between lender calls, plant milk, scam statement, added drink, halt the account. It seemed ridiculous and ordinary at once. Liam finally replied through a lawyer who used terms like strong protection. We proposed a route, return the amounts, transfer the title, mark a agreed ruling for the loan balance, and enter a repayment schedule, evade official referrals. He responded with a note that charged me of money elder misuse because I directed Dad. I wanted to hurl the note through glass. The lawyer noted its distraction. We advanced finding. Orders went out. The postal rental firm sent duplicates of papers with Liam's mark. The lender provided transfers labeled company to LP individual. His property firm had one holding, our residence. His collection was a table with shades and no funds. At home, practical items kept me stable. We added a strong lock Dad could operate with a large, simple opener. I marked the power panel. I showed Mom how to detect trick messages, and she output the guide like a fresh instruction. Julia prepared broth and told me to rest. I didn't, but I appreciated someone stating it. 6 weeks later, the court allowed our order. The title couldn't shift. The line couldn't expand. Liam messaged Betrayer. I didn't reply. When he appeared at the residence one afternoon, Dad encountered him on the entrance. I observed from the glass like a child again. "I'm your son," Liam noted. "I must," Dad noted. Then, after a pause, "Don't arrive here without your lawyer." Liam chuckled, a noise without joy in it. He looked at the fruit tree, at the sofa through the glass, at the residence that should have been uncomplicated. "You'll be sorry," he noted. Dad's tone was soft and firm. "I already am." That evening, I sat on the ground beside the sofa I'd selected, and Julia sat with me. "I feel like the villain," I noted. "You feel like the responsible one," she noted. "It's fresh." The private case moved slowly, as cases do. We obtained a negotiator. We passed 4 hours in different spaces sending proposals across a corridor, like notes in containers. Liam wanted me to remove the story on networks, even though I hadn't shared a syllable. I wanted a clear title and a repayment with enforcement. We departed with a provisional deal. He'd transfer the title, mark a confession of ruling for the loan remainder, and pay over 5 years. If he failed, we couldn't enforce without another battle. He marked. We filed the fresh title with Dad's name on it. The official marked it and smiled at me like someone who's witnessed both outcomes. I took Dad to the desk. "Examine it," I noted. He followed his name with his digit, gently. Mom wept into my coat sleeve. We went home and rested beneath the fruit tree, and did nothing for an extended period. Kin didn't rebound like elastic. Some relations chose Liam's view because it was simpler than confronting their own obligations. Others phoned me and murmured, "Proud of you," like it was forbidden. Festivals reorganized. We held Gratitude Day in the back with 3 portable surfaces and a loaned warmer. It was compact. It was sufficient. The finest part was calm. The post arrived with Dad's name on it. The utility invoice said proprietor. The lender app didn't astonish me. Mom messaged images of the fruit blooms and nothing about funds. When the vehicle made an odd sound, Dad noted, "I'll ride the transport until salary," and then smile like a youth because the operator knew him from the gathering and allowed him free. I placed the mounted image of Dad in the helmet on the shelf. He lifted it and noted I had locks. I noted, "You still do." He noted, "Not like that." We chuckled. Chuckles felt like furnishings we could rest on again. I didn't transform into another individual. I became the identical individual with limits. The summary is basic. I acquired my father a residence. My sibling placed it in his firm and loaned against it. And I tore the veil down before a sign that said, "Gratitude, Frank." The specifics are tangled, they always are. There were marks I didn't examine thoroughly enough. There was reliance one gave where documents should have been. There were 100 small yes, fine, instances that constructed a snare I resided within. Here's what I understand now, in clear terms. If someone seeks your funds but conceals the documents, that's not kin. It's a proposal. Ease is the term people employ right before they seize your access. Affection is not an authority, and shielding your parents from your sibling is still affection. I store the marked title in an inexpensive dark frame on Dad's rack. He cleans it like a prize. Mom attached the local official's contact card inside a cupboard like a charm. When the post arrives, Dad notes proprietor, and it rests on the surface like something we gained. Liam and I don't communicate. Perhaps we will one day, after the final repayment processes, after he masters how to regret without a bill linked. Perhaps not. People prefer neat conclusions. Existence keeps providing me pauses. On filming, I still depict men who can't express until the final moment. In existence, I expressed it at the gathering, produced the title. I hear that phrase in my own tone now. It's become a dialogue I can apply for other matters. Produce the agreement, produce the conditions, produce the honor. Dad inquires sometimes, "You all right, buddy?" I reply yes and mostly intend it. On good days, I prepare eggs in their fresh cooking area and repair the unsteady seat and depart before anyone can give me an invoice. On excellent days, we rest beneath the fruit tree and say nothing, which is a tongue we began acquiring late and communicate better every week. If you're positioned in a space where the tunes halt the instant you request evidence, heed that quiet. It's revealing everything. Inquire anyway. Inquire stronger if they tell you to quiet. You're not spoiling the gathering, you're activating the lamps. At my father's retirement celebration, I asked, "Do you enjoy the home I purchased for you?" He paused and said, "Which home?" I rose. I requested the title. I obtained it, ultimately, with marks and outcomes. I didn't seek a win. I sought a residence with a fruit tree and a man who can rest beneath it without pondering who he owes. We possess that now. This isn't retribution, it's restoration. And if you require a phrase for your own moment, borrow mine. Produce the title, then continue inquiring until the sheet in your grasp aligns with the vow in their words.